Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for our second Assetto Corsa Rally Community Q&A. Today is all about you. We're going to be diving into your questions and talking a bit about the development process and giving you a closer look at what we're building and where things are headed. So I'm going to get started by bringing in the Studio Creative Director, Irvin Sonka. Hello.
Hello, ciao Ben.
Ciao,
Hey everyone.
Irvin.
Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Are you well?
I'm good. I'm well. Thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. The sun's out, which is always a plus here in England. I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, I'm just gonna nosedive straight into the questions, and kick off with Witchy. So the first question Witchy has is, I have a question regarding the code driver. Would it be possible to implement them having a reaction to what happens on track? For example, if I roll over, puncture a tire, start making too many mistakes, a real-life code driver would point that out. Famous example is Samir, you're breaking the car, which I think everyone remembers.
Yeah, of course. Something like, please listen to my calls, my friend. Well, fun fact, we have already recorded this type of sample. But at the moment, we have prioritized other types of feature. So this means that at the moment, we are missing the code implementation to trigger these events based on what happens on the truck. But yeah, we have them. They will arrive them, and I confirm that there are also some fun quotes from popular YouTube videos or even some 90s video games. Yeah, they will be also triggered based on what's happening on the stage and the pace of the driver and so on. Yep.
I do remember doing a little bit of testing when these some of these voices were in there, and it was quite exciting when you did crash the car to be politely harassed, shall we say?
Correct.
Next question comes from Rafiki. It says, "Are there any plans to extend the dynamic snow weather to other locations?"
Yes, yes, there are actually. We've seen with the update 0.3 that the dynamic Monte Carlo snow has been received very, very well by the community. So our technical artist has started doing some experiments outside of Monte Carlo with other stages, and we're getting some very interesting results. So yeah, I would say that we'd like to extend it to other tracks, even so we don't have an exact date in mind, but hopefully it will happen in one of the next updates. Yeah, I've already seen some previews, and that's very nice.
Nice. Well, I'm excited personally. I'm going to struggle with this next name. I don't know how to pronounce this. Chirkme, I think. I'm not sure. CHRCMY910. Do you plan to add a training area to learn handbraking and cornering on all kinds of terrain?
Well, our game design includes an area like this. Unfortunately, I cannot say more because I've also been there and it was very cool. Talking about the game design, at Supernova, as a team, we are used to design each feature well in advance. So that as soon as people finish a certain task, they can immediately start on the next one with clear ideas about what they will be doing with code and programming and graphic and stuff. In general, we are now prioritizing core content and features for the game, such as additional rallies, online modes, for instance, VR. But when possible in the future, we'd like to develop other types of assets and modes like these. So environments where you can freely, learn how to tame a rally car, and in a way maybe similar to what a real rally academy can be in real life. Yeah.
Can I be really cheeky and ask a question that isn't in this Q&A list that I actually want to know myself? Would you mind? It's personal to you.
Yeah, let's go. Go ahead. Yes, please.
As part of the research and development into getting yourself ready to make a Assetto Corsa rally, and obviously then going on forwards, I know that you went on a lot of experience adventures, shall we say, where you've got to try all these different cars on different terrains and stuff like that. What was the most difficult one for you to adapt to?
That's interesting. So you've decided that you want everyone hate me today. Thank you, Ben.
I can only apologize.
Nice from you. I have had the great opportunity to attend a few rally schools while developing the project. This is because I am really a big rally enthusiast since I was a child, I will say, because I was born in a part of Italy where also the two-time Italian rally championship was born, which is Piero Longhi in Piemonte. And I've been attending a lot of rallies with friends, etc. And they were the 90s, so you had cars driving through the night, through the stages. It was great. So I've always dreamt about being involved in any way in rally racing, etc. And it turns out I'm doing this in a virtual way. At Supernova, we strongly believe that if you want to create something unique, you really must know what you're doing. So I had the opportunity to attend the Phil Price Rally School in Wales, where I was driving modified Subaru Impreza's rear-wheel drive cars and a Group A 300 horsepower four-wheel drive car into the woods. And then also I've had the opportunity to attend the rally school in Livigno, which is the ice track that we've got into the game. And there I was driving some road cars like the Mitsubishi Lancers and the Toyota Yaris GR, but also a Ford Escort MK2 rally car specs. So it was great with studded tires. And I really remember the first time. So bear in mind that I've been playing sim racing games since the 90s, and I love cars. My first car was a four-wheel drive car, etc. So in a way, I thought I knew some basics, but the very first session at the Phil Price Rally School, it's very, very interesting because the instructors, which by the way are great. So if you have the opportunity to be there in Wales, attend the Phil Price Rally School because it's fantastic. The very first lesson is very interesting because they tell you, okay, let's break some ice. So I don't want you to stay here very tense and nervous because you have the idea that you will be getting into the car. Just get into the car and drive. Get to know the car, the Subaru, and see what you can do. So you will appreciate how much you improve yourself during the day. So my first run, it was like, okay, I will just try to go not that quick, so I will not make too many mistakes, and I will not look like a total newbie. But it was totally different from what I was expecting, because essentially I approached the first corner, I turned the steering wheel, and the car just started to massively understeer. So it was like, okay, maybe I have to apply more steer, and I was understeering even more. So to cut it short, a great experience what to really practice and understand deeply how weight transfer really do 90% of the job when you're on a slippery surface with a rally car. You really have to move the weight of the car around. That is something that I knew already. But when you are on a proper rally car by your own and you must drive properly, things are way different. So I will say that I will never forget this first traumatic experience of thinking I knew what to do and then I didn't. But it was great because, by the way, at the end of the day, we also had a small competition between all the participants, and I won the first prize. Hey. And it's very, very, I very, very proudly display it on my room, on my office at home.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm not going to lie, very, very jealous, but that sounds really cool. And yeah, well done. Congrats on P1. All right, I'll stop asking my random questions now.
Thanks, Bono. Thanks, Bono.
So the next question comes from Jonathan Maguire, who asks, UE VR works well, but is there any timeline for native VR support?
VR, I've told this already in the previous QA, is among our top priorities. Currently, we're working on it, but unfortunately, I don't have yet a date to communicate today. the fact is that right now the online game mode is absorbing most of our people. Really, we are a small team, and we cannot parallelize. Hopefully, that's the right word. Too many activities by allocating the same number of people across many fronts, etc. So things are progressing slowly but steadily. Just stay sure that we know how VR is very much needed for a game like this, and it's on our top priority list, definitely. This is also why other stuff like, I don't know, Rally Academy or whatever, are not coming soon, because we first have to tackle all these different challenges and bring them to a finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with VR being such a passionate community, it's important that delivered to the standard, right? And you guys have already done that so far.
They really are passionate, and as all passionate people, they can become very vocal. And of course, as a game developer, your dream is to wake up in the morning, have unlimited funds, and make everyone happy in 1 week. And that's never like this, of course. And sometimes it's not, you feel a lot of frustration where you browse all the social communities, etc. And some people ask things, and then again and again and again, and you feel frustrated because you cannot make anybody happy quickly. Yeah. But it's correct. I know why. When people are vocal about something, it's because they care, or they just will, stop being vocal and then turn somewhere else, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm very much what do you say? I'm very much aware of how important it is for a sim racing game.
Nice, awesome, thank you. The next question then comes from Nikita Reshetov, who asks, do you plan to add some stages with mixed surface, say 20% of gravel and 80% of tarmac, for example?
Okay. Not for the moment. Not for the moment. For now, we have aligned with the modern style of rally racing, where you tend to race on the same surface. So that, I mean, usually in modern rally, in terms of car setup, you can always get the maximum performance out of a single surface, etc., etc. But again, I think about what I was saying before, being I was born in 1984, so I get the point here, and I understand the appeal of certain types of competition. So I get the nature of the question. Let's say, if we have the opportunity in the future, and it may be also in the coming years, not months, we will definitely evaluate it. But I want to be clear with my answers. For the moment, it's not on the table.
Okay. Next question comes from Bisto, not the gravy. Are you going to focus more on core game than new content? We need a better force feedback, thermal and wear, tire behavior, rally online, and editable pace notes.
Okay. So I guess more on feature rather than content. Well, I think that we will do both. I think that we've reached a point where, talking about the asset production side, the technologies and tools are almost complete, or at least 90% there, finally. This means that finally we can allow the artists to continue their activities, while the rest of the team focuses on features. So less help from coders, etc., is now needed to empower our artists to do their job. So right now we're giving high priority to the online development, the VR that I was mentioning earlier, and the physics improvement. And we have many other features written down in the game design, and we'll work on them during early access. So probably we will do both then, but stay sure that tracks and assets like cars, etc., are not slowing down other features, not at all. Talking about early access, maybe is probably I can also get the right hook to talk a bit about what's coming in the short terms, I guess. So after the release, as you know, we tried to put out an update every month, as I stated in the previous Q&A, but that proved unfeasible due to both internal timelines and third-party approvals and so on. So we tried that because we released in November and then in December, and then we tried targeting January, but it was impossible because before releasing an update, there are a series of activities including approvals, testing, debugging, and stuff like that. These alone take weeks and grow as the game size increases because you have more stuff to test and check and polish, etc., etc. So there was hardly any time left for development, including debug, etc. 2 months is the minimum time in which we can guarantee a release, we think. Therefore, the next update, 0.4, is scheduled by the end of April. Then 0.5 is scheduled at the end of June, and so on. Barring, of course, any issues we don't know about yet. I can already tell you that based on current plans, the update 0.5 will be quite big in terms of game modes and content. So to get back to the question that was asked. For that reason, update 0.4 will be a bit smaller compared to 0.5. But again, let me give some preview also to thank the people here at this Q&A. I did the same when I talked about the Skoda in the previous one, and this is something that people liked, so I will try to do it again. We have sent 2 extremely iconic 90s cars to manufacturers for approval. A Peugeot and a Subaru. Again, I'm a 90s kid in a way, so even if I appreciate the Group B being extreme, or the Group 4 being classics, or the modern cars being incredible, because honestly they are incredible. You can drive the Skoda and Hyundai and understand it, of course. But 90s cars for me have something special, probably just because I was young in the 90s, but I really love them probably more than any other cars out there. And talking about stages, by the summer we'll release a new gravel rally, along with the first version of the online mode finally, and in autumn a tarmac rally. And so yeah, hopefully this gives a little bit the idea that as a team we really are very, very, very small. Sometimes I read stuff about the game industry and how many people are employed in other companies, and I feel like really a tiny ant. But yeah, we will keep focusing and working on that and improving the game, because most of us in the team are rally fanatics, and essentially we do want a comprehensive rally scene with features and assets, etc. And we will not stop until we think it's the proper rally sim that we have in mind.
Summer is going to be hot in many ways than one. That's awesome. Okay. Thank you for that little tease there. Hopefully people picked up on what you put down.
I love teasing stuff, even if I don't know how much I'm supposed to say. You know, I'm a game developer, so I have to stay under many rules, of course, that are correct, but I like teasing stuff. Yeah.
From my side of things, it's very welcome. I appreciate it massively. Feel free to tease away as much as you want. Okay, so next question comes from Unbreakable. Who says, I would love to know if there is a plan to keep releasing paid DLC after releasing 1.0 to keep the game alive. With the amount of rally cars to pick from and the basically unlimited amount of roads that can be added, this could potentially keep the game growing forever whilst also generating revenue down the line.
Don't tell me about unlimited amount of cars, etc. and roads, because I know I'm always suggesting new stuff and new cars and new roads internally, and yeah, I agree. So a question about DLC. Well, there will be DLCs in the future, for sure. Honestly, we don't have a plan yet regarding DLC, etc. But there will be, because you know, they will be very, very important for the future of the game. But that will only happen after we reach version 1.0. when we are fully satisfied with the base content, no earlier, absolutely. For now, we're focusing on developing everything which is planned for 1.0 release that will be included in the base price. As I was saying months ago, our goal for the base game is to get 30 cars and more or less 120 kilometers of roads. That should be somewhere like 80 miles, I think. And hopefully we will also be able to increase those numbers if possible. But yeah, ACR was born as a sort of platform. And our plans are to give it a very, very long life. So we'll continue supporting it for a long time with both DLCs and also free patches and updates, of course.
Amazing. Sounds exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, we're building something that we want to be really a cornerstone in the racing sim environment, and we want the game to last for many years.
Well, I have a very long question here for you, so apologies, you have to bear with me. This is from Daniel Popov, who asks, what are the plans in terms of brake simulation? Can we expect that there will be dynamic performance based on the temperature and use of the brakes, like degradation of braking capability if they get overheated? With active pedals being present, are we going to be able to simulate different feel of the brake pedal based on the condition of the brakes, like the pedal starting to fade away in the end of long downhill stages if you push too much, etc.?
You said Daniel. I think that Daniel, right, was the
Daniel, yeah. Daniel Popov.
Okay. I think Daniel will be happy to speak with our handling designer, Abbo, Giuseppe Bagnale, because you all must know that our handling designer is a crazy guy, really. He's a mechanical engineer that lives for cars. Really, it's incredible. He can brace cars all day and eat cars and do stuff with cars I don't even want to know. And Abbo is very, very keen on simulating all the tiny details, and I like it because the direction of the game is clearly being as more realistic as possible in order to bring out authenticity from a realistic handling model and core systems, etc., etc. Talking about the brakes, I think that many of the things mentioned are already in our system, and because we simulate various components separately. As you know from car setup, we have what's visible from car setups are discs, calipers, and pads that are manageable via car setup, of course. And then there's a complex simulation under the hood of temperatures and wear that ties all the components together. So, for example, and that is true, on the temperature side, we have a thermodynamic simulation down to the brake oil that can boil to reduce how much effective are all the brake lines and then the pads, and then all the heat gets exchanged between the different parts of the braking components. And also tied to the high temperatures, we have disc warping. Okay. The problem is that at the moment, the feature isn't fully appreciable, I think, for at least a couple of reasons. The first one is that it requires more tuning to work better, because unfortunately, the other side of the coin is that the more accurate you are, the more stuff you replicate, the more difficult it is to tune it and keep polishing it, etc., etc., etc. Abbo is doing an amazing work, but yeah, he really has to take care of millions of stuff, really. And also, with the update 0.3, we disabled some components of the thermal model that were active up to 0.2, because we realized that they didn't always work correctly, and we're completely revising them. And I also like to take responsibility of stuff. Disabling the thermal model was my request, because I saw that the team was struggling to get everything correct because there were some issues to fix. So I definitely preferred to let them focus on specific parts to try to improve them update after update. without having stuff interfering with what we're doing. And I understand that it's not easy to keep waiting for stuff, etc. But at the same time, I think that by playing the game, it's really appreciable how things are changing and modifying, hopefully for the better, even if sometimes we may have small regressions here and there. But I think that this is proof that the game is alive. It's not like, okay, if we look at the data, most of the people liked 0.1, so we're happy about it. Hopefully we will reach a point where we will be happy, but still we are not completely satisfied about the status of the game. But I mean, I also think it's normal and healthy because we are still at the beginning of a early access phase. And I do believe that early access must be an early access. So we must keep improving and improving and improving, also taking risks maybe. But we have a clear vision for the game. And the clear vision is a real rally car on a real rally stage. And we're getting there. And I completely trust the team to be able to get to a point where really it will be a great sim racing rally experience for everybody, including, even if we, in this situation, we almost never talk about it, including people that will enjoy the game just by gamepad, etc., etc. Also with the gamepad, we have multiple stuff to do. So this doesn't mean that if now I am talking about thermodynamical simulation of brake lines, I am forgetting about gamepad. They are two different topics, but in a way connected and related, and it's all, it will be taken care, everything will be taken care of.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Next question is, and this is something close to my heart as well, because I'm a massive multiplayer fanboy, from NPeopo, who asks, what are the plans for multiplayer modes like ranked, clubs, and lobbies?
I was talking about the game design earlier, and these three things are in the game design as well, which means that we definitely would like to have them in the game. However, the biggest complexity is with the clubs, I think. So at the moment, I cannot guarantee they will be there or give a date, but this is something that we'd like to get. Why? Because our desire is to have an online component that covers every need of both our players and our partners. I think, for example, of global esports competitions or stuff that you can do with car manufacturers that are loving the way we are styling our games, etc. So definitely all of the three have been already designed by the team, and what we will do at first, it will be to release a core base version of the online features, and then keep adding stuff and building on that. And hopefully we will get to a situation where all these three things are in there, because we get how important they are to be able to create competition where players have complete control. So you can lock you can decide who's in, who's out, the time schedule when events open and closes. So we totally get the point, and hopefully we will have them. At the moment, it's just game design stage. I cannot give a date, and I cannot give them all for granted. I want to be completely honest with everybody. But another thing that will, another part of the game that will improve in the future is the Assetto Corsa events. They will also grow, giving players the ability to generate them independently, for example. So yeah, we've got great plans for the online, because after a first stage where people are able to enjoy a proper rally simulation offline, of course, we are very much aware that now people want to enjoy this experience as a community altogether, and that will happen in the next months.
I'm excited, personally. The next question comes from Soviet Dog, who asks, since modding is an important aspect in preserving a game's long long-term lifespan, will you provide modding tools to players, something like what's shown in AC Ever?
We are actively investigating modding, and we are in favor of the feature. In any case, it wouldn't be available before version 1.0. So modding is in our plans, but not until we reach 1.0. And then the timing of the release will also depend on the issues we find, the complexity we find out in the code, etc., etc. But we are totally in favor of modding.
Nice. That's always good to hear. I know the modding community are big fans of adding their own stuff in there, so I'm sure they're going to have a good time with Rally.
I mean, everyone, again, I'm getting very, very old. I started making video games in 2005, but yeah, I spent my it's not childhood, it's when you're like 13, something like that. I spent so many hours modding games and downloading mods, etc., that I know it's something that is very, very important for the community. It is to me also.
Absolutely. Next question comes from Luke Durant, who asks, any plans to add separate replay graphic settings? Also, the ability to just view replay on a single screen for us triple screens would be brilliant.
No, there is no plan at the moment, honestly, but it's a good suggestion. I'm taking notes, so thanks. I don't remember the name, but thanks.
Luke Durant.
Okay, thanks, Luke.
Yeah, it just demonstrates that the community really is shaping this game.
But it is really. We spend a lot of time also in the community server and in the groups. But yeah, sometimes it's difficult to get to read all the, let's say, messages related to features, etc. Because and I'm happy about it. We have a very active community. But sometimes I just find myself looking at the Discord servers and like it's a stream of messages just popping up and quickly disappearing towards the top of the screen. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm too tired tonight to follow the Discord channel. Hopefully Ben has noted everything down.
I know exactly what you're talking about, believe me.
Sometimes I see you engaging. I don't engage with the community because really, I'm super tired at night, but sometimes I take some, as soon as I can, I sit on the sofa, on the couch, and with my phone, and I start reading. And mainly, it's funny stuff.
Yeah, good ones on there. There's also some trolls in there. Looking at you, Berg.
But we.
No, he's all right. He's all right.
We love our trolls.
He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
Next one is by a person called Sin, who says, is there going to be an academy stages with guidance? It'd be nice to be able to practice handbrake on hairpins, etc., with some pointers.
This brings me a little bit back, I think, to what I said earlier. So some style of Rally Academy. Well, again, I can confirm that a Rally Academy mode is also in our design. And I've been talking already about these, so what I can add, well, personally, talking about the game design, also I myself grew up with classic school modes based on lessons. We were talking about the 90s, and here I think of the revolution brought by Gran Turismo in the 90s, where we had all the different lessons, etc. And it was the first time like that in a video game, and it was incredible. Anyways, I believe that the best method is the one used by real rally schools, which is lots of sit time in the car, where maneuvers are practiced freely within the same session, rather than separately, also with loading screens and menu flows, etc., etc. I think that when it will be the time to work on the game mode, we'll try to go in that direction. That is my favorite. But for now, an academy mode unfortunately has a lower priority compared to the other things I mentioned earlier. I say unfortunately because I really think that racing should be for anyone and rally should be for anyone. And unfortunately, rally is one of the sports with the steepest learning curve out there. I'm not happy at all about the current, let's say, onboarding process of the game. I'd like the game to be way more accessible, both in terms of proper accessibility and also in terms of assist and game modes that help you understand what's happening around you, etc., etc. And we know we lack a lot in that department. It's not by design. As always, it's about priorities. We have to build a structure, a core structure, to onboard the people towards, on the structure. If we don't have a core game, we cannot onboard you towards anything. But yeah, honestly, what I desire the most is to see people playing the game and just having fun by activating whatever they want to activate or understanding what they're doing. And I also think about people that maybe they don't know anything about rally, but they want to start enjoying rally, or maybe even kids that may have different skills compared to 40 years old humans like me that have been playing for 30 years and stuff like that. So this is something really that it's very, very important to me personally. But unfortunately, I will and we will have to wait for that.
Understandable. Final question comes from Robert Haubeke. Apologies, I've almost certainly butchered that name. And their question is, are there any plans to have the dynamic weather more localized? For example, in real-life Monte Carlo Rally, it is common to have dry tarmac and snow on the same stage without any snowfall. Currently in ACR, this scenario is only possible with snowfall on the stage and only in one-way tarmac to snow.
Yeah. Well, this point has already been discussed internally into the team because, as you know, of course, until now, rally games used to be like to have like fixed conditions. So you find snow there, and then you find dry tarmac there, etc., etc. And we wanted to do something completely different with the weather being dynamic. The plan would also be to have something like Robert was asking. So having the possibility to go back from snow to tarmac, and also to have kinds of situation where you don't have snow at all, but still you have maybe some snow patches in where the trees cast shadow, etc., etc. We'd like to do that. We have some ideas to do that technically, but we are not working on it at the moment. So the design, in terms of design for future developments of this feature, we are in a way aligned with this kind of request, but not at the moment. Again, it's about priorities, and we think that what we reached with the Monte Carlo is at the moment a good level. There are people in the team that are very, very vocal about improving it further. But at the moment, I have asked people to focus and prioritize other stuff. We hope to work on it further down the line.
Well, that is all of the questions that we have selected. Thank you so much, Irving, for taking the time to answer them, to be honest. And it definitely made an eye-opener for me. You got anything you would like to close out with?
Well, really, I'd like to thank our whole community on behalf of the entire Supernova team. We had this dream of working on a rally theme because we think that rally is fantastic, and it's a very niche sport. It's a niche game, but we are happy. We were not the only one thinking that it was time for a rally theme. I know it's a leap of faith, I think is the right wording, and I understand that it's difficult to trust people that you don't even know, like me, but rest assured that we love rally as a sport, as a community, we love what we're doing. and we will not stop until Rally is as we want it to be. And I can confirm that our plans are very, very, very close to yours as a community. So thank you very, very, very much. I just hope you keep enjoying the game. You will enjoy the next updates. And we're putting our really all the passion that we have in this project. We do that for because we're nerds. That's it. So a massive thank you, guys. And of course, as always, Ben, thanks for the chat here. It was very nice.
My pleasure. Believe me, my pleasure. Okay, guys, thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a good rest of your time, and we'll see you guys after the next update for the next community Q&A. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.